Hey, this is DecoyNoise, and today, me and you are going to break down another Am I the Antagonist thread that is, am I the antagonist for giving my sister a harsh dose of reality regarding her positivity? So as always, right after we read the story, we take the case over to Decoy Court where we judge OP kind of knee-jerk reactions. We read over some of those top comments and the controversial comments. Then down below, I'll take the best comment on the YouTube video itself, pin it to the top, and earn that person the Decoy coin, which will be worth something in the future. But I mean, let's go ahead and read OP's thread right now where they're saying, so I, an 18-year-old male, find that I've been faring rather well during the lockdown. I've sought out intellectual stimulation by diving deeper into great literature, especially philosophical works such as Man's Search for Meaning. I've contemplated my existence, asked the hard questions, but also rewarded myself with copious amounts of Halo 3, an old classic I like to play. Now, I'm quite different to my sister, a 23-year-old female. I'm not particularly close to her. She's more of a party type. She likes her Instagram, astrology, and the terrible teen drama shows. I guess we both do sort of fall into stereotypes. Needless to say, she has not fared well under this lockdown, something that has always bugged me, but which I've never commented on directly to her, is her infuriating and asinine forced positivity. She constantly FaceTimes her girlies, basic white girls essentially, and they literally recycle the blandest live, laugh, and love literally affirmations, as well as peddle anti-scientific nonsense such as astrology. They seem to regard rather basic therapeutic advice, e.g. put yourself first, as some profound revelation, and to make insult worse, they shower it with crap such as chakras. After her latest video call, she expressed some doubts to me. She opened up and said that she's feeling a bit low. I decided to be honest and said I'm not surprised. She was confused and asked why, and I asked whether she really wants me to elaborate. She said yes, so I told her the harsh truth. I said, your forced bland positivity is unhelpful. It is incredibly irritating and it doesn't actually address the root cause of why you're feeling low. You're feeling low because you cannot get the validation you would otherwise would at parties and social events. Perhaps try intellectually stimulating yourself and spend some time alone with your thoughts, rather than texting your girlies 24/7. Also, please stop the astrology garbage. It is insulting to anyone with scientific sensibilities. All that stuff is nonsense and has no basis in reality. I was cold and detached in my deliveries, as my advice would be felt with impact. Well, it seemed to hurt her a lot because she burst into tears. I hadn't seen her like this, nor did I know what to do, so I left the room. My parents have been very angry with me, and my dad straight up called me an antagonist and asked me to apologize. On the one hand, I do feel that she should adhere to my advice as it could help fix her. On the other hand, I do feel a little bit bad for my being cold in my delivery. Am I the antagonist? So as always, we take the case directly over to Decoy Court so I can give you my knee-jerk reaction with the top comments and controversial comments shortly after. But let's go ahead and break out this case right now with, I guess I will call it Exhibit A. Exhibit A is, what is this? The idea that he starts this with his long, dissertation as to how he's this profound intellectual and, he should look down on her sister for, having a more social type of life. It's like, they're different people. There's introverts and extroverts. People gain energy and positive feelings off of different things. And somehow, because he thinks one way and the sister thinks the other way, they're both how he called them stereotypes. She's inherently wrong because she's feeling low. Where is he getting that from? And the idea that, Exhibit B is the idea that she came to her brother expressing doubts and expressing, human feelings and says, hey, can I get your emotional support? And then he turns around and says, oh, this is the perfect time for me to attack her character. Not only attack her character for everything she's believing in, but let me do it in a very stern, harsh way where I can just be, I don't want to say hurtful, but yeah, hurtful. He's just being is kind of mean to her as much as possible. And it's like, yes, I don't subscribe to astrology myself, but it does me absolutely zero good in my life to spend my time trying to get angry at people that do, or trying to get angry at family members that do. What would that do? This whole the tribalism of being angry at somebody that thinks different than you goes into politics, goes into lifestyle choices, even goes into sports teams where people just want to be angry at people that think something else than them. And it's it doesn't make, being right about your life choices compared to somebody else's doesn't make you an intellectual. It just makes you a dislikable antagonist. You want to be charismatic, and charismatic people may or may not have the same values as you, but they don't need to parrot everything that you think or everything that you do. You like them because they're charismatic, and this is the opposite of that. They never try to pull people down because they think that they're better than you. They just always try to be a net positive to everybody around them. And it's other times you see posts like this, and you if you read between the lines, this isn't him being self-assured in his way, like, oh yeah, Halo 3 and philosophical needs. He's trying to convince himself that he's smart. He's trying to convince himself that, I'm doing the right thing, because unlike his sister, he doesn't seem to have anybody that's giving him the validation. Oftentimes when people give advice to other people, they're really giving it to themselves, and that's exactly what it is. Like, stop reaching out to other people for validation. You're not getting that at parties. Look inwards, which is him talking to himself, thinking, am I doing the right thing? Because I don't have friends, and I don't have like these FaceTime 24/7 with my girlies or whatever. So as always, we're just judging OP, and we're gonna say you're the antagonist, but a very soft you're the antagonist. Maybe he's a huge antagonist in this very particular thing, but he says he's 18 years old, so he still has a lot of maturing to do. I know a lot of people that say, oh, he's legally an adult, so you can treat him like that, but it's like, people can grow up. It's like, I can assure you, if I had the younger Decoy as a guest on my podcast, I would be constantly upset with younger Decoy. He'd piss me off nonstop with his ramblings, as I'm sure an older version of Decoy would be irritated at what I'm saying right now. So it's, just hopefully he learns from this situation. His sister getting mad at him, or his sister getting emotional, the parents saying you're doing the wrong thing. Everybody online, I'm guessing, is going to kind of jump down this guy's throat right now. And in the comments here as well, pause the video and give me your feedback below. But it's just one of those situations that hopefully he just learns from it. He's still young. He still has plenty of time to become the adult that he needs to be. So earn yourself that Decoy coin by telling me I'm wrong. Maybe my particular situation and the way I see this situation being a let's go easy on this guy is the wrong way, but, pause the video, let me know your thoughts. But let's go ahead and go to the comments right now, because the top comment, it's saying that I guess they just locked the thread because nobody could be nice to each other. But let's go ahead and read the top comment, even if they're going to be angry right now. So the first person writes, you're the antagonist. Also, you sound remarkably tedious. You've contemplated your existence, and she hasn't, because she has friends, because she adheres to a different spiritual way than you do. There's literally no difference in weight between her way of inspecting the world and philosophy and yours. You just took the stereotypically Western male route down to contempt for women. Bravo. So it's like, he even admits that he's a stereotype, in the sense, like, he's like, oh, I don't astrology, you're dumb for thinking that. It's like, yeah, he's a stereotype, and just the idea that it's like, let's be honest, a lot of these different viewpoints, astrology or even science or whatever, it's just kind of a, I don't want to say like a meditative thing, but it's just a way that you can interpret the world, reflect on it, and reassure yourself that you're doing the right thing, or there's some sort of astrology is going to guide you to the right way, so you can feel more comfortable in your decisions. And no matter how you get that, through meditation, through religion, through astrology, through reading philosophy books from people smarter than us earlier on, it doesn't matter. It's just all trying to reassure ourselves while we, like, hurtle through the universe on this big blue marble. Like, I mean, obviously I'm giving my own kind of my feedback on the situation, but just the idea that it's like, yeah, why would you hate on her because she thinks different than you? But let's go ahead and read the next reply. LMAO, I only read the first sentence where he was bragging about reading philosophy and already came to the conclusion that OP was the antagonist. So here's the idea is, yeah, I don't like the whole, you are coming from a different perspective as me, you say you're an intellectual, so I'm just going to throw out the entire story, not read any of it, and just already come to the conclusion. This is the equivalency of when someone sees like a Twitter post of like 140 characters and be like, oh, you know what? I don't know enough about you, but just by reading those 140 characters, I already know what side I'm on. It's like, that's not a good way to live life. How many times have people will read the story in DecoyNoise where I have to put in like 4 small lines and a thumbnail that inhabits half of the 150 by 150 frame, and say, oh, I read the caption and I already know you're wrong. I already know this. Like, they already like have a knee-jerk reaction. It's like, at least hear them out, like we want to hear the title, the story, the top comments, the controversial comments, then take it through Decoy Court and kind of figure out who the true antagonist is. I don't like the whole, I read the first paragraph or the first line and I already know I don't like this guy. Let's go ahead and read one more top reply, which is, you're the antagonist. You're not an intellectual. You're a teenager. You've got no degree. You've read a few books, and somehow you're under the impression that you're the new and improved Freud? I hope I'm reading that right. So, your sister doesn't need a reality check, my friend. You do. And by the way, everyone knows what Halo is. And maybe some people don't know what Halo is. My grandmother probably watching this video is like, I don't know what Halo is. She doesn't own an Xbox. So, like, don't project the idea that just because you know what it is doesn't means everybody else does. But just the idea is like, this is very true though. You're not some profound intellectual. You're just a teenager. Like, you think that you took psychology 101. You like, now you know how the world works. That's not how it goes. But just the idea that most people that have like an eye-opening book or an eye-opening class where they all of a sudden, man, I've been thinking about the world in the wrong way. Now all of a sudden they want to you know, they had a blog's worth of knowledge on a situation or a topic, and all of a sudden they're like, let me enlighten everybody around because I read one book and, you know, I have all this new knowledge or whatever. That's not like, you know, that's nothing new. That's just teenagers being teenagers. That's being kids, discovering some new facet of life. I've done that too, where you just think you're an expert of it, but you're just really an idiot. You're actually just, I don't want to say an idiot, you're just really a, you don't know how to like navigate the situation socially. Like, yes, what do they talk about? Like, you know, when you start riding motorcycles, all of a sudden, everything in your life, you always want to interject motorcycles in the situation. Like, this is so cool. I love this thing. You always want to interject it. And it's like, you just don't know how to socially navigate that situation. Doesn't make you a bad person. Just means you're new. You're barely getting your grasp on things. But as always, top comments are for perspective. Controversial comments will be for fun. So let's go ahead and read the top controversial comment, which is, more information needed. Are you on the spectrum? Because that would explain so much. And here's the idea is, this is a controversial reply, but maybe that's true. Maybe they are on the autism spectrum where they don't have lots of friends externally and they don't really have many like social interactions they gain cues from, so they just kind of have a book like, you know, Man's Search for Meaning, and I play Halo, and he's like, you know, grandstanding in his typing. He could possibly be on the spectrum, which doesn't mean what he's doing is permissible, but it would explain so much. It would kind of not, you don't want to give him a pass, but you want to understand where he's coming from, and that would be a very valid excuse. So let's go ahead and read the next reply to this. This is degrading to people who are on the spectrum. For your information, you don't have to be autistic to be an antagonist. Nobody said that autistic people are antagonists. They're just saying that, hey, maybe he just doesn't know how to read the social situation, where it's just like he's going to say inappropriate things, and he can say something kind of offensive and mean and be incredibly devoid of, you know, empathy, where he can say, you don't know what you're talking about. Astrology's dumb. You need to not look for social validation. Like, that could be something that an autistic person would say. The idea that, you know, if you say something about like Asian people, like, oh yeah, well, was your accountant an Asian guy? And like, that's offensive. It's like, that's only offensive if you just think that Asians are accountants or something like that. This is a bad analogy, but I'm just saying the idea that, you know, he's saying this is degrading to people that are on the spectrum because they are making the connection. Other person didn't make the connection. They are themselves. But let's go ahead and read a reply down below. Maybe not, but being this socially inept is enough cause for the question being asked. And I agree with that. And the guy came back to reply saying, being socially inept does not come hand in hand with autism, though. In fact, I can't think of an acceptable time to ever ask if someone is on the spectrum because of their social problem. I thought, correct me if I'm wrong, but my very small knowledge of autism is just, you being on the spectrum is because you lack the ability to interpret social cues. So it's like, it's never acceptable to ask if someone's on the spectrum because of their social problem. It's like, I don't know, maybe if someone was colorblind and they can't determine colors, like, hey man, are you colorblind? Like, is that the situation? Like, you can say, hey, you idiot, are you colorblind? That would be mean, but just the idea, like, hey, have you ever been tested for being colorblind? Maybe you're colorblind. Like, that's just a legitimate question. You can't ever question if somebody has a disability because it would be, it's not acceptable. I don't subscribe to that. But like I say, if I'm wrong and I'm being the huge antagonist right now, let me know down below and then earn yourself that Decoy coin, and maybe I can learn something about myself. Maybe I'm a jerk and I just don't know it. But let's go ahead and read the next reply. The controversial reply says, your sister sounds slightly annoying. You sound insufferable. And that's the thing. Idea is, people are going to have different ways of living life. Like, maybe if he had like his little, I don't want to call it like man cave of friends that also subscribe to the same things as him, like reading the books and kind of, you know, talking about intellectual behavior and talking about like, you know, Halo 3, I'm sure the sister would be like, yeah, he's kind of a loser. All they do is play video games. They don't party, or they don't, you know, do whatever the basic things that he says that she's doing. Yeah, but I don't think that she's blasting him for his decisions, but maybe that's a part of the situation we just don't know. Maybe that's why he was so hard on her. But let's go ahead and read the next controversial reply, because that's going to be a lot of negative votes. So they say, being cold often translates to being the antagonist. You're the antagonist. I agree with pretty much everything you said, and if I was you, I still wouldn't regret saying it as long as it would help in the long run. But yeah, it's still the antagonist move. And here's the idea is, maybe he has the same sentiments as this person, agrees with them, but then he probably wouldn't have done it the same way. Like, you know, being cold often translates to being an antagonist, which is true. Just because this person is having a different perspective of the situation where they agree with OP doesn't mean that they're the antagonist. This isn't about, am I being right? Am I being wrong? This post is literally on, am I the antagonist? Why they're getting so much downvotes because they have a different perspective than us is kind of they're missing the point of, am I the antagonist? And the next reply was, not everything that is right needs to be said out loud, especially if doing so will negatively impact others, which is true. I don't think that they said they would they would have done it. They said they wouldn't have regretted it. Maybe they wouldn't have actually said it out loud, you know, say the quiet part loud and the loud part quiet type of situation. But let's go ahead and read a next reply, which is, OP, you remind me of someone I know. Serious question. Do you have Asperger's? Which, I mean, they're getting downvotes because they're asking a serious question. This is nobody here is like, oh, are you autistic? And they're trying to, like, you know, belittle them for saying that. They just want understanding. They want information. Why is this a controversial opinion to try to ask more questions about the situation? If we get downvoted every single time we want to know more information about potential mental handicaps and we get like shunned for it, are we really trying to understand the person, or are we just trying to grab our torches and pitchforks to shame somebody? Like, what are we really trying to do here? And I don't like the idea that that gets downvoted. But one more controversial reply, which is like, you know, they're just quoting the idea of him giving him that big pat on the back, and they said, Lord have mercy on my sides, not the antagonist, tasteful satire, OP. So another person saying, hey, this is a fake story. Maybe not, but we don't judge this based on, are these stories outlandish or not? We just judge it based on, you know, what the situation at hand. If we sit, sorry, I feel like if we just sit here and do all this fake story, like, what are we really doing here? Like, why can't we just enjoy the situation for what it is? Enjoy Am I the Antagonist for what it is? Every now and then, a fake story might seep through the cracks, but you can't enjoy it if you just sit there and say, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake, that's fake. Like, as always, though, let me know what you think down below. Earn yourself that Decoy coin. But if anything else, thank you for making it to the very end of the video. Subscribe down below with the notifications on, because I do believe some people that like my content don't see me in the feed only with the notifications on. Go to DecoyNoise.com to apply to become a Discord moderator when I finally set that up, and also give me feedback, submit your stories. If nothing else, put this on autoplay and put the next Decoy Noise on next.